My name is Nathan. I'm 29 and I need to let something out, something I've never told anyone around me. What I did wasn't illegal. In fact, some would say it was necessary. But whether it was right, that's the part that keeps me up at night. I met Sophia 3 years ago at a rooftop party thrown by a mutual friend. She was from Brazil, studying for her MBA here in the US on a student visa. Sophia wasn't just beautiful. She had this magnetic, sharp-witted energy that drew people in. She spoke 4 languages fluently, carried herself with elegance, and somehow seemed genuinely intrigued by my awkward humor and my odd love for restoring vintage clocks. It felt surreal when she laughed at my dumb jokes and asked me questions about the little details of my life. We started dating shortly after. Within 6 months, she'd already met my parents, and later that year, when her family flew in from São Paulo, I met hers too. They were formal, distant even, but Sophia brushed it off, saying that's simply how her family was with strangers. Looking back, our relationship seemed almost too smooth, too perfect. About a year after we started dating, Sophia moved into my apartment. That's when her anxiety about her visa situation began to surface. She was nearing graduation, and she'd stay up late stressing about how impossible it was for international students to find sponsorships. I tried to help, offering to connect her with people at my firm or any other potential leads. But she kept saying it was hopeless. One night, I found her crying in the kitchen, terrified about losing everything. Her future, her career, and me. I hated seeing her like that. 2 months later, I proposed. She said yes right away, tears streaming down her face. She even called her mother right there in the restaurant. Suddenly, her once stiff parents were showering me with warmth. Her father even offered to cover all the wedding expenses, insisting it was an honor. We filed the immigration petition soon after, preparing to adjust her status post-marriage. Felt right. I believed I was securing our shared future. Her mom and she took the reins on most of the wedding planning, chattering away in Portuguese for hours. Sometimes I'd hear my name mixed into the conversation, but Sophia always brushed it off. Something about centerpieces or guest lists, she'd say. Then, 3 weeks before the wedding, something happened. She'd left her phone on the table while showering. A WhatsApp notification lit up the screen. Her mom's name, with my name appearing in the message preview. I wasn't snooping, I only reached over to plug it in. But curiosity sparked. I opened the message. The entire conversation was in Portuguese, but I copied it into Google Translate. The message read, "Remember what we discussed. After you get the green card, wait at least 18 months before filing for divorce. It'll look less suspicious." Sophia had replied, "I know, Mom. It's harder than I thought. He really loves me." Her mother had responded, "That's not your problem. Your father has already arranged everything with the Nogueira family. They're expecting an engagement announcement by next Christmas." My stomach dropped. Kept reading. There were voice notes too. In one, recorded just days prior, Sophia's voice was clear as day. "Mom, I'm only marrying him for the green card. I'll file for divorce when it's safe. He has no clue. He's sweet but clueless. It'll all work out." My hands were shaking. I forwarded the screenshots and recordings to my email, then carefully returned her phone exactly where she'd left it. She emerged from the shower, smiling, kissed me, and asked about dinner plans. I muttered something about a work emergency and left. I sat in my car for hours, rereading those messages, replaying her words. There was even more. She'd been messaging her ex-boyfriend, Rafael, back in Brazil, someone from an affluent family, whom her parents were pushing her to marry. She'd been sending him pictures from our vacations with captions like, "Enduring this for our future." The wedding was less than 3 weeks away. Deposits paid. My parents beyond excited. That night, I booked an emergency appointment with an immigration lawyer. He confirmed my fears. Marriage fraud was no joke. He warned me that if I married her, I'd be financially liable for years, even after a divorce. He explained how to legally withdraw the petition, and urged me to do it immediately. Followed every step. I withdrew the petition and submitted all the evidence to the immigration authorities. Sophia started noticing me pulling away, but I blamed work stress. Meanwhile, she kept planning the wedding, smiling as she fed me cake samples, then texting Raphael about their future. 2 weeks later, a large envelope arrived from Immigration Services. She opened it at breakfast, and I'll never forget the way her face drained of color. It was a formal notice of intent to deny her petition, citing evidence of suspected marriage fraud. She panicked, asking me what we should do. I feigned shock and said we should probably consult a lawyer. Her lawyer didn't sugarcoat it. He told her the case was almost impossible to win, especially because I had submitted the evidence. Days later, the official denial came through. Her visa expired shortly after, meaning she was now unlawfully present in the country. A few days later, I handed her a letter, giving her 60 days to voluntarily leave the country or face deportation and a permanent ban. The car ride home was silent, except for her sobs. Back at the apartment, she snapped, screaming at me. "It was you, wasn't it? You sent those recordings." I didn't deny it. "Yeah, I did," I said. She slapped me, called me vile names, then collapsed in tears, begging me to reconsider, saying she'd truly fallen for me and changed her mind. "Sophia," I said coldly, "you've got a boyfriend waiting back home. You chose him, not me." She flipped again, threatening to ruin me. Said her family had connections. I told her to go ahead and announce to the world that she'd committed immigration fraud. A week before her deadline, she sent me a message from the airport. "I hope you're happy. My parents disowned me. Raphael's family canceled everything. You've destroyed me." I never replied. Months passed. I lost about $80,000 in non-refundable wedding expenses. Telling my family was agonizing. My mother cried for days. My father muttered he'd always had a bad feeling about her. Some friends took her side, saying I'd gone too far by involving immigration. Others quietly distanced themselves from me. Not because I was wrong, but because of how I handled it. Even the friend who introduced us admitted Sophia had asked about me before we ever met, whether I was single, stable, financially sound. He thought she was just curious. Now he felt guilty. Her belongings are still boxed up in my garage. I can't bring myself to toss them or return them. Her family's lawyer once demanded I pay to ship everything back to Brazil. I ignored it. I started therapy soon after. My therapist once asked if I regretted it. Honestly, I don't know. I protected myself, yes, but the look on her face when she opened that envelope. The panic, the betrayal, it haunts me. I kept asking myself, was anything real? What gutted me most wasn't the fraud. It was how easily she faked everything for years. The laughter, the affection, the routines we built together. My therapist says people like her often blur the lines between real feelings and manipulation. That she might have loved me, in her own twisted way, but not enough to stop the scheme. That's somehow harder to swallow than believing it was all fake. But then a year later, fate threw me a curveball. I was in Toronto for work, killing time at a coffee shop downtown when I heard my name. Turned, and there she was. Sophia. She looked different. Thinner, casually dressed, with a laptop bag slung over her shoulder. "Hi, Nathan," she said like no time had passed. I asked what she was doing there. "I live here now," she replied. "Got a Canadian work visa after finishing another MBA. It's not the US, but it's mine." He nodded. She surprised me by saying, "I deserved everything that happened. All of it." I was ready to walk away, but something in me needed to hear her out. We sat down and she laid everything bare. Her family wasn't poor, in fact they were wealthy. The arranged marriage to Raphael wasn't about saving them financially. It was a power merger between two old money families. She said she used me but not to hurt me. "You were my escape route," she admitted. "I needed out. You were safe. Kind. Predictable. I knew you wouldn't see it coming." Every word cut. But then she admitted something unexpected. "I didn't plan to fall in love with you. But I did." She told me her mother had suspected it when she'd started defending me. To prove she was still loyal to the plan, she sent that awful message I'd found. 20 minutes later, I'd surprised her with flowers, just because. She'd cried herself to sleep that night, realizing she'd crossed a line she couldn't undo. I asked, "Am I supposed to pity you?" "No," she said. "I just wanted you to understand. Not forgive, just understand." She shared what happened after. How everything collapsed, how she had to rebuild from nothing in Toronto. Before leaving, she said something that stuck. "The night you proposed, for a few seconds I forgot it was all fake. I was just happy." She walked away. It's been 2 years since that coffee shop encounter. We've never spoken again. Sometimes I still wonder, what if I hadn't checked that message? Would we have married? Would she have left anyway? Would I have lost even more? But mostly, I don't let myself dwell. I've started dating again, slowly, cautiously. A woman named Claire, a teacher I met at a hiking group. She knows everything. We take it one step at a time. It's not a fairy tale, but it's honest. Her dress still hangs in my mom's closet. We don't talk about it. On my hard drive, there's still a folder filled with screenshots and recordings. I don't open it. Can't delete it either. It's a reminder of the life I almost led. And here's what I've learned through it all. People are complicated. Love is complicated. Sophia wasn't just a villain or a victim. She was both. The woman who betrayed me, and the woman who comforted me when I grieved. I reported her because she planned to use me, but also because I was furious, heartbroken, humiliated. Both truths coexist. She's built her life. So have I. Not the lives we envisioned, but maybe the ones we needed. If you ever discover that your life was built on a lie, protect yourself. Even if it breaks your heart. Even if a part of you still loves them. And if you're thinking of using someone like this, don't. You'll hurt them in ways you'll never understand. This is the last I'll speak of it. Claire is coming over tonight. We're making dinner, nothing fancy. Pasta and salad. Simple, quiet, real life. It's enough. Actually, it's everything.